Hey everybody, Jennifer from Scrapping Under the Influence. I am back with a new project. I used the Country Crafts Creations exclusive Country Bunny paper to do just a fun little home decor piece. So this is a metal, and this is meant to hang on the wall, so I didn't cover the back of it, like envelope hanging, I don't know what you call it. Metal envelope, let's just go with that, from Michaels, that I have covered with the Country Bunny paper. I fussy cut by hand a bunch of the images out of this. This paper is so gorgeous. It's got so many things that you can fussy cut out. It was just really hard to kind of pick what I wanted and where I wanted it. But I fussy cut those out. I then used my scan and cut to cut the offset layers to mount them on, so that I didn't have to fussy cut some more, partially because I was having some wrist issues yesterday. I've got some butterflies, Prima butterflies from Country Craft Creations, as well as the flowers that Tammy had put together and matched to the Country Bunny paper that are available on Country Craft Creations, as well as some of the Art Glitter Fantasy Fiber. This is the Cotton Cloud. This is also available on Country Craft Creations. My little eggs here came from Hobby Lobby, and my little, it was an Easter garland. These little balls came from Michaels as well. So this isn't going to be a tutorial per se. It's more of a process video because to be perfectly honest, this kind of thing is completely out of my comfort zone. I don't normally do it because it just normally would take me 1,000 years to do it. But this paper just inspired me. As soon as I had seen, I had seen the little metal envelope in Michael's some time ago and was, going, oh, I'd like to do something with that. And as soon as I got the paper, I was like, oh, I know what I need to do. I just have not had time until this week to get it done. So let's get going. Okay, so here we have the metal envelope from Michaels. And I've just picked out my papers that are going to go down inside and also go on the top of the piece. So what I'm doing here is I'm just taking my bone folder, the Teflon pencil, and just kind of marking where that front piece of that envelope is, because as you can see, it's bigger than my paper. So I'm just kind of marking and then roughly cutting my piece that's going to go on that very front part, and then we'll do the side pieces separately. So that's going to go down there. We're going to fold it up and over on that top so you have a nice clean edge. Okay. Let me see, I had to go get something here. All right, so what I've got here is just a damp washcloth that I'm just going very lightly over the paper with. What this is going to do is it's going to help me, because you can see how it curls up once it gets a little bit damp. And of course, I think my glue was clogged again, so I'm screwing around with it. It just helps soften the paper so that we can get it to adhere and to curve perfectly around that metal on this front part of the envelope. Yeah, I was just having a terrible time with the glue right there. So as you can see, it's going on there much easier because I did go at that with the envelope. And then I'm just going to kind of go over it with my bone folder just a little bit to kind of push it down, get it smooth, so on and so forth. And then all I did there was just put some glue on that little piece that folds up over the top edge. I think I'm still messing with the silly glue. I have just had a horrible time lately with my glue not flowing right. All right, so then I'm just coming across the bottom and getting that bottom edge good and stuck down, and then going along my sides, just adding a little bit more glue and just working that down to make sure that's going to stay. And again, going at it with the corner of my bone folder just to make sure it's good and down. Okay, so then I'm going to take the piece that we cut that initial front part from. Actually, I think I'm fixing the glue again. There we go. And then I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold it down over the side so that we're going to get that side covered. And then again, just with the bone folder, following along the edge of that envelope to just get a rough idea of where that angle is and where I need to cut. Okay, so again, I'm just going to very lightly just kind of rub my paper with the damp washcloth. You don't want this sopping wet. But this is another thing, and honestly, I hadn't remembered this trick until I was watching some card making videos the other night, and they were talking about doing that when using embossing folders, and I was like, oh yeah, that. So, just, you know, a little tip there if you're working with something that's got kind of some different curves and whatnot, just to make it, just to help get the paper to move the way you want it to. But I will say, you can't really do it with like cheap paper. It has to be nice, heavy paper, and this Country Bunny paper is fabulous. All right, so now I'm getting that, working that down and over, sliding it down a little bit because I was up a little bit high. I'm just working that down and over, and then trimming just a tiny bit on that bottom corner so I can get it folded over and down so that it looks nice. And then again, coming back along that top edge, again, to just get it tacked down nice and seamless. So right here, I'm just cutting about 1/2 inch or so away from the top edge of that piece, or that top edge of the envelope. So again, I'm just using the envelope to help fold, and then I'm just cutting a little slit there so that I can fold that around 2 separate angles. Okay, so I've got those all cut. I'm just going to come in here with my glue and put that down. Okay. All right, we're going to do the same exact thing on the other side. So again, since I've already got part of that angle there because of cutting that front panel, I've already got part of that angle, so it makes it a little bit easier to kind of decide where it is that I'm cutting to get the rest of that piece. So again, we're going to use the washcloth to get that just a tiny bit damp. And this time I'm putting the glue directly on the metal itself. Should have been doing that from the beginning. It was a lot easier. And then lining that up and just pushing that down on the edges. And then again trimming, and sorry that's out of frame, just doing just a little cut to make sure that I can fold that corner down and over. And then again along that edge to make sure it's good and sealed down. And then again, just making a little cut where that angle is so that I can get those 2 angles, those 2 edges wrapped that are on different angles. And then same thing on that. Okay. Got them folded down, they look good, so then I'm going to fold them back up and get the glue on. And like I said, I didn't cover the back of this because this is meant to hang on the wall, so there's really, I mean, if you wanted to cover the back, absolutely you could. It would look very nice if you covered the back, but because this is literally nobody's ever going to see it, I didn't want to waste my paper on it. All right, so I want that whole little like French looking label type thing to be at the top. So I'm going to cut about an inch off of the bottom of that paper. And then as you can see, that's going to put it, but it's still not as wide as the paper is not as wide as the base that I'm decorating. So I'm taking that 1-inch strip that I cut, just cutting it in half, putting glue, and literally just putting that down on those sides. It doesn't go all the way to the bottom. It doesn't need to go all the way to the bottom. Because, again, nobody's going to see that part, so it's okay if it's a little bit short. Okay, so again, I'm doing the same thing on the other side, just putting glue, lining that up. And there we go. So now I can center up my back piece. Some little loose piece there that I'm gluing down, just kind of holding it for a second. Okay, so I'm lining this up and holding it, and then I'm just going to very roughly cut. So I have about ½ inch or so left that I'm going to wrap up and around the top of the base. And again, just covering that with glue, lining it up side to side, just pushing it down. Okay, so now again we've got varying angles, so I'm going at the corner of that angle and just trimming, and then I can fold those two pieces over. And since I didn't need to fold the whole thing, I'm just going at those two pieces I do need to fold with the damp washcloth. Get those edges down. And the other side. Okay, so now we've got this top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut to the side and fold those two side pieces down and over. Okay. And then I'm just coming in with my scissors till I get the edge just barely underneath that triangle hook that this hangs with, and then I can fold that down underneath, and you've got a seamless, nice, clean top edge. Just a little bit more glue there. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so I had fussy cut all of this fun stuff by hand. I'm just kind of pulling out some of those little eggs to see what it is that I want, see how many I want, and kind of where I'm going to put those. I had my carrots that I had inked with Rusty Hinge Distress Ink. The carrots came from the dollar store. And they look really cute, but I ended up not using them. So this is the Easter garland from Michaels, the Prima butterflies and flowers from Country Craft Creations, and then the ribbon from Country Craft Creations that matches the bunny paper that I ended up not using on the project. So what I'm doing here, and I don't know why my focus is doing that, but so I apologize. I am just figuring out how I'm lining this up, and I want it to have dimension. So I am going to do several layers of foam tape on here. So I'm doing 3 layers between this top level and the piece that, or top layer and the piece that goes below it. I'm not sure what I did there. I tore the score tape somehow, or foam tape. I don't know how. Okay. So then I'm kind of feeling where it needs to go on that top end. And again, just doing my 3 layers of the foam tape. Okay, so kind of looking at that. No. And seeing how that's going to work. And then this other side that isn't going to have that other layer behind it, I'm going to go ahead and do my 3 layers, and then I'll figure out after I attach these together how many more I need on that piece. Okay, so I'm layering those guys up. Okay, so then I'm going to cut a couple pieces because I missed his head somehow. I think when I held it up there first, I think I had it further over where his head wasn't really touching anything, so I'm just adding some foam tape underneath the bunny's head. Okay, so I'm going to put that little guy up there, and I'm going to find my little bitty pop dots for that. Or foam dots, whatever you want to call them. I don't think they're actually pop dots anymore. I think that was an actual brand that I don't know that I've seen in years. Okay, so I'm going to double these up to really make this little pink butterfly kind of stand up more. I'm going to put him right up there. So now I'm going to pull this in. I'm going to kind of see where I want this. So on this back piece, I'm going to do 2 layers of foam tape right there. And then I'm going to add 2 more to the 3 on the other side. I know it seems like overkill, but the end result ends up being really cool. And I mean, I've done this on album fronts before too, so this, if you've ever watched, you know, some of my more elaborate albums, I do this a lot. So if you're not a big foam tape person, I get it. All right, so there's one side. Really, I could have stopped there. That actually looks adorable with just the one side done. But I have all of these things fussy cut. I am going to do it on the other side as well. So this side, I'm only going to do 2 layers of the foam tape. And then go ahead and put this one down. And then I'm going to figure out where I want my bunny. And he's going to get 3 layers so that he really stands up. I'm just kind of looking to see where do I want him. Yeah, he needs to go more towards the middle there. Okay. And then I'm going to get some foam tape under. Just needed one more little piece under there. So now I'm going to get some of my butterflies stuck here and there. And I am just going to use normal foam squares for those. And I think all of my butterflies are single layers. I didn't double up the foam squares on any of these. I did use my biggest one up there at the top on that back piece because it needed it. Put him somewhere. Kind of tuck him back in there. Put him down over there. And then I'm going to kind of figure out to get my glue gun. And off camera I did cut apart some of that wreath and kind of put those where I wanted them because I did a lot of fussing around with those. So figured you really didn't need to see me messing with them. So I've got my glue gun. I am just gluing those down underneath there. Just getting a little dab of glue wherever that connects. Get that one. That was one big piece that I kind of wove in and out over there. I had to just double check that, yeah, that was actually one piece. All right, so I'm going to add my little eggs here, and in just a minute you'll see me manage to drop one of them and simultaneously burn my fingers on it, because it wouldn't be me using the glue gun if I didn't do exactly that, because literally every single time, I cannot tell you, I manage to burn myself with the glue gun. It's just me. I have a love-hate relationship with the glue gun. Okay, we're going to put this last little darker egg on top. And then trying out the carrots, not really liking the carrots. I thought they kind of took away from the rest of it, so I ended up not using them. Even though they're all inked and ready to go, I might use them somewhere else, on something else. I don't know. They're from the dollar store. It's fine. Okay, so at this point I'm looking for some moss, which I didn't have any. I did have, however, the fantasy fiber in a couple of different colors. The green was too much. The white ended up being just enough where you got that texture, but it wasn't like an overwhelming color or anything of that nature. So again, I'm just taking this, and the fantasy fiber is really cool. You can iron it and like sew it onto stuff. There's a bunch of things you can do with it. And I haven't had time to really get in and play with it and figure out what all I can do with it, but I will eventually. So now I'm just getting some of those little prima flowers, and I'm kind of tucking those in there around my eggs. Because again, I was going for, and that was part of why I ended up not using the carrots as well. I was going more for kind of spring as opposed to straight up Easter. So I just thought that was going to make this a little less of an Easter project and more of a spring project. Because that's the other thing that's really nice about this paper, is it's not like you look at it and immediately go, oh, this is Easter, because it can go either way. It's amazing. Okay, I'm just kind of fluffing my flowers there. All right, I'm going to grab my butterflies. Hopefully there's some left at the store. I know when I ordered them, I think I bought all of them. I think she's restocked them, though. I think I saw them on there the other day, because I almost ordered more of them because I am so in love with these butterflies. I can't even tell you. I am very much a butterfly girl. I can't. It's my thing. So, all right, there's our project. I'm gonna move some stuff out of the way there, and there you go. Hope you enjoyed it.